Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Millie, and on this channel I share with you my yarn adventures. So I talk about the things that I'm knitting or crocheting. I share with you yarns that I have bought, and I also share finished objects and works in progress. But today I'm going to be talking about works in progress, and these are like things that I have procrastinated on for a long time, but I think it's time to pick them back up again. So way back, I think maybe 2014 is when I learned to knit socks. And I wasn't interested in knitting socks until I met a friend who was knitting socks like crazy, and I got drawn into it, and I discovered it wasn't hard at all. It's easy. And so I learned how to knit socks, and then I moved jobs and went to work in a different place, and I lost kind of contact with her. We still talk online, but we live in different places, so I don't see her anymore. And I kind of lost all that mojo for knitting socks. But so that what happened was, like, I have two socks that are like, I think people call them, are they called rogue socks if you've forgotten to finish one or something like that? But I have two pairs of socks that are, I believe, are from that time, 2014, no, 2014. I think these are from 2018 when I started, and I finished one, and then I got started on the other one and I didn't finish, and now I have to go back and finish. But I think in between I have knitted two pairs of socks, but I think the motivation here is because my mom loves my knitted socks, and the first time I gifted them to her, she kept saying, "Oh, can you bring me those socks that you sent last time?" And I was thinking it was some socks that I had bought at Walmart. And then when I went home to visit her, and she was like, "Did you bring me those socks?" And I said, "What socks? Like, I've sent socks so many times." And she went back to her bedroom and came out with a knitted pair. And I was like, "Oh, mom, I did not buy those, I made those." And I kind of felt proud of myself because everybody was like, "Oh, you knitted socks?" And I was like, "Yes, I did." And I had a pair that I was traveling with, and I showed them, and my brothers were looking and thinking, "You made those? Can you make me some of those?" And I was thinking, they're just socks. But it was a nice moment. And even now when I call my mom over the phone, she's like, "Don't forget to send me those socks again." And so I think I'm going to finish this pair and give it to her because we are the same size shoes, and so any socks that I make for myself can fit her. And I think I might have made for myself about 10 pairs or something like that, and then I stopped. But I'm gonna go back to it because they are some of the most rewarding projects because they knit up really, really fast. I think the key is find a pattern that you like, find a design that you like. Either you like to do toe up or you like to do cuff down. I personally like to do toe up because I feel like there is just some magic in starting a project like at the bottom and then not finding out where it started. Like, look at the seam. And the method that I use to start here is called Judy's Magic Cast On. It's actually magic because you cast on, but even I wouldn't be able to tell where I cast on unless I leave a stitch mark. So anyway, so let me talk about this pair here, which has been hibernating since 2018. That's more than 5 years. So that's a long time for a project to be just, hanging out up there. And as usual, I'll go back to my trusted Ravelry notes to find out all the information because that's where I save all my notes. So let's see, works in progress or WIPs. And yep. Oh my. Okay, so actually I take that back. This pair was started September 29, 2019. I'm not gonna count how many years those are, but this is the sock. One sock is finished. So one is finished, and I started down here. I like I said before, all my socks that I have made, I have used the Judy's Magic cast on, and I do them toe up. And all my socks have a gusset. This is the gusset here. I don't know if you can see. So that's the gusset over here. So that's what they look like. I make them this way, and then sometimes I'll change up the pattern. I'll put a design, or I'll put a stitch pattern, or when you have variegated yarn like this, sometimes you don't need anything else on it. Or if you're trying to be adventurous, then you can add some cables, you can add whatever design you want. Or if you're following a pattern, then you can, some patterns will have like a stitch pattern up here or on the front side or something. But this one is completely finished, and look at where I stopped with the other one. So this one is ready to, it's done. I need to start increasing for the heel, and so that I can start on the gusset. But that is where I have been stuck since 2019, which is a shame, but I'm going to motivate myself so that I can pick these up again, because whatever is left here is like a project for like maybe 4 evenings, if I'm just knitting on these and not getting distracted and picking up something else. And I'm using so this yarn that I'm using is the Knit Picks Stroll. Oh, that's what it's called, but I have the label in here, so but that's what it is. I know for sure, because way back in 2018 and before 2019, I shopped on Knit Picks a lot because their yarn is very affordable. And so this is a Knit Picks straw fingering. I think it was going for like less than $15 at the time. I don't know how much it costs now. I haven't shopped there in a while. And this is 75% superwash merino wool, 25% nylon. It comes in 100 grams, skein in 462 yards. Machine wash, turbo dry. Oh, I had washed all my socks in the sink using some soap that I usually buy from a knitting shop or something like that. So I had washed them. They're so easy to take care of. So this color, let me see if I can see. Pansy Tonal is the color, and I'm almost sure they still have it, because this is one of their sock yarns that's really popular. And most of my socks have been made with this, and part of it was the affordability. It was easy to get your hands on the yarn, and at that time when I was shopping on Knit Picks, it used to be spend $50 and get free shipping. So it was kind of easy to spend. It was more affordable than right now. I think you have to spend $65 to get free shipping. And if you've been collecting yarn like me, then sometimes I'm like, I don't need all that yarn because I already have some of that. Because I think I have been collecting yarn seriously since 2014. That's why you see all this yarn here, and I have a ton of acrylic, and I have a lot of wool and wool blends. And so that's the yarn. It's a purple. It looks really beautiful. It's soft, and I'm gonna pick these up and finish them. And I don't like using double point needles personally, unless I'm making a hat and I'm up here at the crown where I cannot avoid it. So I know a lot of people like to use magic loop, or they like to use double point needles. I think like 5 of them. I prefer to use 16-inch circular knitting needles. And what I do is I knit on one and then I go back and knit on the other one. And that is how I do all my socks, like with 2 circular 16-inch knitting needles, which are the perfect size. I think there are some companies that make 9 inches, but I already have a ton of these 16-inch. I think this is a size 1. Let me see what it is. It might be a 0 or a 1. I didn't put a lot of using Judy's magic cast on. I believe that's what it is, because that's what I've been using to knit socks. And this is these are Chiaogoo reds, so they have a number on the knitting needles, which I like. Man, I cannot see it, so small. I think it's a 1. It's a size 1 knitting needle. So this is what I'll try to finish soon, so that I can have another finished project, and also send them to my mom so that she can enjoy them, because for some reason she seems to love these socks. But they're very comfortable to wear. I think it's the wool in the socks that makes them so soft. So I'm gonna finish this, and hopefully that will happen sooner than later. And I have I have this pattern that I learned to knit on, because it was so hard for me to figure out how to knit socks and to understand the concept. But I think in my own I mean, this is just my own experience. Knitting is a concept. As soon as you understand a concept, then you'll be able to do it. So it's a matter of understanding. You increase over there, you decrease over there, you cast off over here, and once you understand how the math is going, then you're able to make the project. So it's not, for me, it's as soon as I understand the concept, then I can work from there. And I learned to knit socks using this pattern that I bought. It was $2 when I bought it. And this is old, like you can see. I think I've knitted all my socks using these notes here. And this was, gosh, it's even rubbed off and it has tape and all that. But let me see if I can find out what it's called. Oh, okay, so this, I used the Sockmatician's toe up, and this pattern I learned with this because it explained how you go through every step, because you cast on and then you increase, and then once you get enough stitches for the round, you knit up until you have your foot finished, and then you start doing the heel. And that is where all the math is, and he explained it to where I was able to understand it. And then I used this pattern, or I used this to make all my socks. And what I would change was the cast on, like cast on 16 or cast on whatever number, and then I would do the math to know how much to make for the rest of the sock. So that's how I did it, and it worked for me. And that is why I have like all these notes back here, all these notes back here, all these notes back here. And I just based off all my socks off of this. And since it worked for me, I just kept it and kept changing it up. So some of the socks I would add like a design, like a pattern, like maybe cables or something like that. or yarn overs and whatnot, just to make it more interesting. Or I would do two colors where I would change the heel, the color of the heel, and go from there. So that is one of the procrastinated socks pattern or sock projects that I am sitting on, that I need to get started on so that I can finish it, because it's 3/4 done. It's at least 80. Okay, so that's 50% plus another 25, so it's 75% done. So this should take no more than 3 evenings to finish. So that is one. And since we are talking socks, I found another rogue socks that was something that I started and I didn't finish either. And that's the other one. This is really bad. Like, I need to finish this. So this, I don't know if I have, oh man, I don't have the label for this yarn. That's how old it is. But I think I have it here listed on my program. I mean, on my project page. Just give me a second and I'll go back there. Projects. I found it. Okay, so this is another toe-up socks. And this one I'm only 25% done, and I'm using the Gusset Hue socks by Wendy D. Johnson. And I will leave all the details of what I'm using in the description below. Unfortunately, this dye are no longer dyes yarn. This was Gynx yarns that she had such beautiful yarn, but she stopped dyeing yarn a while back. But I'm happy that I was able to snag this before she stopped dyeing. And I think the other reason that I stalled on this was because I only have this skein, which is it's a sports weight yarn, but I don't think I can find the information for this, because you can't find any more information online for her, because she stopped dyeing the yarn, and I don't think she was selling some of it on Etsy, but most of the times I found her at the DFW Fiber Fest, and that's where I bought this. And I don't think there is enough here to make to complete socks that are the length that I like them to be. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to my stash and look for a color that coordinates with these, and then I'll combine the two, and then I will work it up that way. And on this one I'm using Addi's, and I believe these are like a 2, because this is a sport weight. And so these are 16-inch Addi's knitting needles, and the color for this is called House Cap. But like I said, she no longer dyes yarn, so you're not gonna find this yarn anywhere. But you can definitely substitute with any sport weight yarn. And this pattern by Wendy Johnson, it calls for a fingering weight, but I guess when you have a project that you've been holding for so many years, by the time you go back to it, it might not be available. So I hope I have this printed, or if I bought it, it should be in my library. I can print it off again, because it says that this digital pattern is no longer available online. It says in projects. Well, if it's no longer available, I'm just gonna use, because I've only gone up to where I need to increase for the heel, I can always adapt another pattern, because most sock patterns are usually the same on the foot. what changes is what happens with the heel. So that is where the design changes. Over here it's all the same, so it doesn't matter. So as long as you've cast on and made worked the foot, you can work the heel any way you want it. So this pattern no longer available. If I don't have it in my folder of printed patterns, then I'm gonna have to rethink what I'm gonna do for the heel. But I like gusset heels, so it's not gonna be, I haven't tried these other like afterthought heel or something like that, so I don't know. I'm yet to decide what I'm gonna do with it, but definitely I need to finish this one so that I can have something warm to wear around the house. So that is the extent of my unfinished socks, which I would say I think I'm doing pretty good if that's I only have 2 pairs of unfinished socks. So these will be easy to tackle, and so I'll go back and try to figure out things and see what I can do with them. So that is all I have for today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing so that you may be notified every time I upload a new video. And as always, thank you so much for watching and for being here.